Hi, everyone. We are going to wait just a minute to get people to grab their coffees, grab their lunch, give them time to join us. So thank you for those that are here, and we'll get started in just a minute. I should have that New Year's Eve clock in the top right-hand corner, countdown. For folks joining, we're just giving people just a minute to join us before we officially get started. Okay, well, that minute is up. Let's get started. Everyone, welcome to today's webinar, which is titled One Platform to Empower Your Entire Firm, How Foundation Enables IT to Make Data Actionable for the People Who Need It. My name is Ashley Gibbs, and I'm the Director of Project Advisors at Latera. And I am very excited to be facilitating this discussion today, to the point where I raised my hand really high and volunteered for this. And it's because I have spent a lot of my career focused on experience management. And what I mean by that is helping firms understand the work they've done, the clients they've done the work for, and the people that are doing the work. Today's discussion will focus specifically on Foundation, Latera's firm intelligence solution that centralizes firm data, providing transparency into just that, the firm's experience. Admittedly, use cases for Foundation tend to start and center around the needs of business development teams and/or knowledge management and innovation teams. We're going to touch on some of those use cases today. It's inevitable. But the reason I'm passionate about this topic, and have been for well over a decade, is because there are so many additional use cases that can be brought to life by other functions at the firm once they have access to this centralized data. That is where the power of this tool can really come into play, because when you're leveraging one source for different purposes, you're telling consistent stories about your firm. And we all know that's really hard to do. And that's what we're going to focus on today. I'll stop babbling about myself. I am joined by 3 experts in the field who will share their experience with Foundation and the use cases that they've brought to life at their firms. We have Hunter Goolsby, who's the Director of Data Science, Strategy, and Analytics at Troutman Pepper. Emily Rushing, the Director of Competitive Intelligence at Haynes Boone. And Stephanie Bishop, Senior Solutions Engineer at Latera. Before I hand things over to Hunter to officially introduce himself and talk about his firm's journey, we really want to encourage interaction throughout today's discussion. The chat's available. Please pop your questions in the chat. We're going to do our best to answer them live today. So Hunter, please get us started.
And I am going to share my screen. Ashley, did you prompt me to be able to share? I'm sorry, it's not coming up.
Let me see. Give it a try again.
It's not working.
Oh, there it is. We can see your screen with your notes.
Okay, perfect. Let me.
You know, Foundation guys, we don't know GoToMeeting.
Sorry, I don't normally use GoToMeeting, so this one.
None of us do.
So hopefully everyone can see my slides now. Hello, everyone. My name is Hunter Goolsby. I am the Director of Data Science, Strategy, and Analytics at Troutman Pepper. And in my prior role here at the firm, I was Director of Client and Market Intelligence. And my responsibilities with that in that function was that I was responsible for Foundation, our MarTech team, our market and competitive intelligence team, as well as our data analytics team. And early this fall, I stepped into my current role focused on building a robust data science and analytics program at the firm. And as I moved away from the day-to-day management of Foundation, Kelly Whitnell was promoted to Director of Firm Intelligence and now manages the system and team here at the firm. And Kelly was at my side in building out Foundation from the beginning. And I'm thrilled that she continues to be my partner as we try to leverage all these data assets to the benefit of the firm. But we began our implementation of Foundation back in 2017 and have been using the platform for over 5 years. We were an early adopter of the platform and really an early partner with Foundation software pre-Latera, and provided a lot of feedback and suggestions that really helped shape the current state of the platform. And Foundation is a critical tool for enabling data science. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about our program and team and our projects in just a few minutes, and how Foundation data is really helping empower that program. So Foundation is mostly deployed across Trauma & Pepper, and it's being heavily used across all of business services. We've integrated most of the firm's systems into master data and have integrated master data with Foundation. We are bringing in data from a number of internal systems, including our accounting and HR systems, our business intake and conflict system, our external website, and our trademark and patent system. And additionally, we're augmenting that data with external data from Docket Alarm, PitchBook, Courtroom Insights, and Dun & Bradstreet. And Docket Alarm provides litigation data. PitchBook, obviously, we're pulling information on private equity and venture-backed deals and financings. Courtroom Insight contains a wealth of data on litigation support parties and arbitrators, mediators, expert witnesses, the like. It's just incredible data source. And Dun & Bradstreet provides us over 40 fields of data on our clients, and that includes SIC and NAICS codes, headquarters location and other key locations, number of employees, whether they're publicly traded or private, their stock ticker, that kind of data that's fully automated. And then we have automated a call out to Yahoo Finance to pull back market cap data so that we can further segment our public company clients by size. And our data from Docket Alarm and PitchBook are not integrated, as the information requires some massaging before we import that information into Foundation. But Dun & Bradstreet comes in through the system through nightly data feeds, and our Yahoo Finance calls are weekly. I believe they occur on the weekend. And we are still working on our integration with Courtroom Insights, but it will be fully integrated with Foundation. So all of this data is being pulled together to give us unprecedented access to information on our clients, our matters, our timekeepers, our third parties that we work with as a firm. And this data is being used to support the various objectives listed on the right side of the slide. And it's safe to say that almost every role in the firm has some use for Foundation. So I want to spend a few minutes talking about the challenges we needed to address when we started our Foundation implementation, and how new challenges emerge as you get further along in your implementation and use of the tool. Before Foundation, the firm did not have a data strategy or good data hygiene practices. Data existed in silos across the organization, and we didn't have a good data aggregator. We also found that we were not capturing the right data, and what we were capturing was not very reliable. We had very vague matter narratives and matter taxonomies, and this made it really hard to truly understand the work that was being done in the firm. We also had very limited industry data on clients, and the only location data we had was the billing address. We had a very inflexible business intake system that had limited customizability, which just made things worse. And we did not have any good tools for analyzing data, and certainly did not have the talent to do so. So moving forward 5 years, we've addressed all of these issues with Foundation. It's been a great tool for tackling all of this. But our challenges have evolved, so we still have challenges. The first is obviously lifecycle management never ends. It requires constant cultivation and oversight, sorry. This is also true for our integrations. Issues can develop over time, and you can't trust any external data source 100%, so you have to have people focused on that daily and reviewing and tweaking and handling that, especially when you get to enterprise level use of the system like what we have, where we do have thousands of, well, over 1,000 people actively using it daily. And that's a problem if things are not, data issues start coming through the integrations. We've also found that the rise of APIs have created a lot of opportunity for data automation, but figuring out how to integrate or migrate that data into from those sources can be tricky, especially as your database matures and you have a very well developed data architecture and structure, that the way the information comes in through the API may not fit that structure, may need a lot of normalization and massaging and work before you pull it into Foundation. We do not recommend bringing it in and then cleaning it up in Foundation. It needs to be done before you push it into the system. And it's also important to understand that Foundation requires constant communication and training for end users due to turnover, lateral hires, and new features that are added. We found it's very important that we have to constantly re-message the value of Foundation and its expanded use cases to the firm. And we have a lot of attorneys profiling matters through the automated workflows, and this requires constant communication and reinforcement to associates that you do have to do this. This is part of the job, and we've been successful partnering with our practice management department on that, as well as our practice leadership, having the partners really kind of drive that with their associates. Another important factor to consider is that once all of your data is aggregated into Foundation, you will find a lot of data issues in other source systems that may be outside of the Foundation support team's responsibility. And this is one of the reasons a firm needs a good data strategy with well-defined data governance and standards. However, building relationships with other stewards of source data systems is very important, can really help mitigate some of these issues, but it's kind of an ongoing battle. And having the mechanism to get that information and process to get that information corrected is a constant challenge. So Foundation.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
We actually have a question that came in. I feel like you've touched on this a little bit, but it might be a good time to ask. And that's simply, how do you normalize your data coming from external sources? What tool do you use for fusion of data? And it sounds like you've introduced some best practices to that, which is, do it ahead and bring it in. But can you expand on that?
But you have to be understanding that depending on what kind of analysis you're trying to do with data, there's different views, and the ways you're going to want to massage that data is going to vary. So yes, we do a lot of our normalization through master data and the integrations with Foundation, so that when it comes into Foundation, it's the way we want it presented to our lawyers in Foundation. And then we have separate processes where we may pull certain data sets into SQL tables and further normalize it there for specific types of reporting or data science that we're trying to pursue. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but we pull data from Foundation directly into Python or R and do a lot of cleanup and normalization there, or into Power BI. We use Tableau and Power BI, but Power BI is our preferred tool for if we need to do any cleanup and normalization before pushing it into dashboards. So there's a lot of different mechanisms, but yes, to the extent possible, do it up front. We're also testing Alteryx for some of this, and so far it's pretty cool because we do a lot of data unification with information in Foundation and other sources, maybe government websites and things like that, where you can do data extractions or web scraping tools, and then having to marry all that up can be a bit of a pain. So Alteryx is going to be really helpful for those kind of things. So to continue, Foundation really is a great flexible tool, but it will not fix bad business processes. And what we found, and has been a big challenge over the years, is getting people to change their process to incorporate Foundation's strength and capabilities. And you would assume, because Foundation is going to make something more automated and more efficient, people would be eager to adopt it and incorporate it into how they work. And that's true sometimes, oftentimes, but there are other times it's not. And it has been an inordinate effort to get certain teams to fully adopt it at its full capability. But once they do, they appreciate it. And then lastly, I would just say, with a larger team comes more increased expectations. The Foundation team at Trotman is now 9 people, 100% focused on Foundation and data management in Foundation. And with this kind of investment, the firm expects consistent progress and a high level of support for the team. So it's a little bit of pressure on the team to keep things evolving and growing and becoming better and better. So I want to spend the rest of my time today talking about how Foundation has empowered our data science and analytics program. I will talk a little bit about our team and our objectives, and we'll discuss several key projects we are working on for 2023. The fundamental goal for our team is to unlock value for the firm's data, from the firm's data. The team uses data science, advanced analytics, and data visualization tools to enhance decision making, improve the client experience, unlock new sources of revenue, drive automation and efficiencies, and improve risk management and mitigation for the firm. This is how we communicate the value of what we focus on to the firm. You will see when I start talking to you about some of our examples of what we're working on, how that fits into these categories. But ultimately, our goal is to provide stakeholders across the firm near real-time access to analysis to help end users answer questions or plan for varied scenarios or outcomes. Foundation data is used in every one of our projects. Having quick access to curated, reliable data is critical to our ability to execute on data science projects without spending too much time doing that unification, structuring, and cleaning. We still have to do it, but Foundation dramatically cuts down on the need for it. And like I said before, the team pulls data directly from Foundation into Python or R, as well as directly into our data visualization software. So, having it fully, I won't say fully integrated, but, quickly and easily able to pull that information into those tools is really critical as well. So a data science and analytics team does require new roles and skill sets that are not traditional to big law firms. So we've had some success training and developing internal talent, but for certain roles, we do hire externally. And as example, we recently hired a senior data scientist who is a former practicing attorney, has a PhD in mathematics, and specializes in natural language processing and machine learning. And these are the new skills that are really critical to our success. I have others on the team that we've been able to train and send to training and classes around Python and the like, and data visualization. I think that's a little bit easier to train internally, but you get into more hardcore data science and you either have to give someone a lot of time to help develop those skills, or you're going to have to hire it externally. So once we fill all of our new positions for 2023, there will be 8 people on the team, including myself, 2 data scientists, a business intelligence and analytics manager, and 4 analysts who are focused on kind of the ETL, data engineering, data visualization, and data translation work. So I've highlighted some of the new skill sets needed on this slide. We combine math and statistics with specialized programming software and tools to analyze complex and disparate data sets, extract trends and correlations, develop algorithms, and then present those findings back to an end user in a visual, easily understood fashion. So the team pushes data to end users using dashboards and infographics. I've included a couple examples here just to give you a reference on how we present the information back to the teams. But ultimately, our goal is to leverage artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and machine learning to not only extract data from documents, because so much data in a law firm is locked up, it's unstructured data, it's locked up in attorney work products. So having that specialization to be able to extract that data and operationalize it is really, really important. And that's where we found we do have to mostly go outside the firm to get that skill set. But ultimately, the goal is to extract that data, analyze it, and then build self-learning algorithms to really drive that insights and make it get more and more accurate over time. So all of these tools and techniques are used to develop advanced analytics, including predictive and prescriptive models. And just to remind you, predictive models are kind of algorithms that can predict an outcome statistically based on prior behavior. This is the common example that they use in legal, is where and I think that the area that's most prevalent right now is being able to predict kind of litigation outcomes or settlement, likelihood of settlement on a versus going to trial based on historical data on similar cases. Prescriptive models are much more advanced. They do not just predict, they suggest solutions to particular problems or actions that can be taken to influence outcomes. And both these models can be highly accurate. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a project we're working on for next year that's going to include a prescriptive model. So we have a number of priority projects for 2023. Most of the projects are focused on supporting the firm's new strategic plan, which was finalized earlier this year. All of these projects have been presented to and approved by our top management, so the firm wants to see them done. I think we've done all the work to sell it, and now it's on the delivery side. So I'm working with our chiefs and other key stakeholders to finalize our firm-wide data strategy and roadmap. I've done other presentations outside of the firm on this topic, but part of that is we're forming a data council of key stakeholders across the firm to ensure our data and supporting technology is properly leveraged, our data governance and security standards are followed, our infrastructure supports our long-term goals and needs. And the business services teams are fully aligned and coordinated on our efforts. This year, we spent a lot of time unifying all of our data generated from digital touch points with clients. This is internal systems as well as external sources like JD Supra. And by the end of the year, we will deliver phase 1 of digital analytics dashboards that provide insights into and aggregate all of our data around client engagement with thought leadership, webinars, podcasts, events, client entertainment. And this data will also feed other models around client segmentation, health scores, as well as our cross-sell and lead generation models that we have underway. So we are building key account dashboards for all clients that generate at least $1 million. One of the big priorities out of the strategic plan is to expand our key account teams across the firm. And the goal is to provide kind of an aggregated view of all the data and information on that client into one dashboard to make it simpler for the people working on those teams. And the objective is to really allow our key account teams to better understand and anticipate client needs, to engage with clients in a deeper and more meaningful way, and to obviously optimize the client experience and create opportunities to cross-sell additional services. We have also been making a lot of progress on our cross-selling and lead generation models. This is where we're using algorithms to identify current clients with the most potential for cross-selling very specific services. We have a project underway right now with our privacy and cyber practice, and those models are being built to be able to leverage and roll out to other practices in the firm as well. And accompanying that is lead generation models, which is basically looking at all the data that we have around prospective clients and being able to drive more leads and opportunities to our lawyers and leadership and business development teams in order to kind of advance the sales pipeline. We have a major data science project that's just getting started. There's really 3 pillars to it, kind of the client segmentation, health scores, and journey mapping. We're starting with the segmentation work now, and that's where using clustering models and other kind of statistical and data science techniques, we're segmenting our clients to analyze, with a range of client data, including financial, feedback data, engagement data, opportunity tracking data, marketing data, and grouping those clients into healthy clients, opportunity clients, and wrong fit clients. And in addition to growth and expansion, our strategic plan prioritizes reducing the number of smaller non-productive clients by 50%. So it's not only focused on how are we going to grow our clients, how are we going to leverage all these healthy clients or clients that have high opportunity into healthy clients, but how are we going to basically fire some of our clients, and how do you prioritize and focus in on who that is? So that's where the wrong fit clients portion of this comes into play. And the next step will be to develop an algorithmically generated and statistically validated benchmark score to measure client health and eventually provide insights into where we are falling short with a client. And the last step in the larger project is to develop models and visualizations for mapping a client's journey to becoming a healthy client while measuring the variability in that path based on industry sector or type of work that we were doing for the client when it originated. And this is where you think about how a client comes into the firm and what cadence were they introduced to new practices? How long did you wait before expanding that work? We know clients that have been well cross-sold across multiple practices and are working with multiple offices in geographic locations. They have a higher stickiness with the firm. So you can algorithmically measure and kind of see, okay, we know who our healthy clients are. What did their path look like, and how can we operationalize that to mimic and leverage that same information to find opportunities with similar clients. So, the goal here is to understand the profile of a healthy client, measure how healthy clients engage with the firm, and better understand the journey they take as they're introduced to new practices and services. And this is an area where we expect to develop prescriptive models to suggest next steps to our business development team based on a very data element specific to a client and kind of what the next step should be from expanding the work with that client for business development. And then lastly, we have been working on compliance models for some time. This is a kind of a holy grail project in law firms where we have these outside counsel guidelines and engagement letters that, kind of provide mandates from a client around what we can and cannot do with them on the billing side, as well as on staffing and other sides. And we have a very robust client feedback program at the firm, and that's one of the top things the clients complain about is that we agree to these things and then we don't adhere to it. So what we're trying to do is use natural language processing and machine learning to extract all of this data from the outside counsel guidelines and engagement letters, get that data into a database, and build dashboard, insurance back-end source systems if needed, but build dashboards for us to be able to monitor where that compliance is and where the violations are. So, but that's a longer-term project. We have started it, but it's a longer-term goal for us to get there. So that's it for me. I covered a lot. I know. Happy to answer any questions. And
we do have some questions, and I actually just have a couple of reactions for myself. One of which you and maybe Kelly, if she's out there, might reach through and wring my neck about what I'm about to say, which is 5 years doesn't seem that long for everything that you've been able to accomplish. I'm sure it feels a lot longer, but I think that's impressive. And I'm wondering if my second reaction of what you mentioned actually potentially plays a role in that, is that the importance of that continued pushing, championing, cheerleading, yes, reminding people where the information is coming from, mandating it as part of lateral training and new hire training. So do those two things, in your opinion, do you think correlate?
Yes. It was interesting how the journey has evolved, because when we started with Foundation, they deliver you this platform that's a blank slate, and it's highly intimidating for any of you who have not started the journey. And Kelly and I spent a year just getting this thing structured and set up, made a lot of mistakes, and had to redo things as we got into it and realized the way we configured things was not the way it should be. And over time, she kind of took the lead on that side of it, and I took the lead on the champion, the communication, the selling it to others in the firm. She helped. I mean, Kelly was definitely heavily involved in that, but building the resources and having a team the size she got was built kind of one win at a time. And when we solved diversity teams issues and automated their Mansfield dashboards, that was a big win. When we are supporting our pricing team and our LPM team with the information in the system, that's a big win. You have to tackle these things kind of one-off. And I would start with those that have the highest value, with the individuals that have the most influence in the firm, because that's going to be what gets management to kind of open their eyes and see the potential beyond an experience management marketing database, because I feel very strongly Foundation is not a marketing database. It has marketing functionality, but it is a firm intelligence platform and has very wide use cases across the firm. But yes, I mean, getting the buy-in with attorney leadership, as well as the chiefs, have to all understand the value of the system and understand how it can help their areas. And that was a lot of work, and it's constantly having to be reinforced. And honestly, never ending. So I should have added that on the challenges list too. So, you know.
That's great. We did have a question. I think you might have touched on this, but the second part of this question, I'm not sure if we know. So how big is your team, and is your team part of the foundation team? And so I'm thinking out of all the folks you have, how many folks are dedicated to foundation?
Yes, on data and analytics, there are 4 currently, but we've got 4 more budgeted for next year. And obviously, fingers crossed, the economy holds up and we can hire all 4. Trying to get 2 of them filled here early in the year. So the goal for data and analytics would be 8 by end of next year if everything goes as planned. Foundation is 9 people by itself. There's Kelly, the director. She has 2 managers, and then they have 1 coordinator, and the rest are analysts. And the analysts are assigned to specific practices. So they develop deep knowledge of the data relevant to that group, like litigation or health sciences or corporate transactional work. And that's been a model that's been well received in the firm, because it, you know, to be a generalist and have deep knowledge of the data of the whole firm is hard. You know, Kelly's got it, but it took her decades to build it, you know, so.
Great. Emily or Stephanie, anything before Emily? I'm going to pass it over to you. Now's your time to stall. Ask Hunter some toughies.
No, I'm ready to go, and that's a tough act to follow. Thanks for having me today. I'm Emily Rushing. I'm the Director of Competitive Intelligence with Haynes & Boone. I'm in Dallas, Texas. I've been around, you talked about decades. It's 22 years in law firms, yikes. And I've been with Haynes & Boone here since 2008, previously with King & Spalding. And I've always historically been on the law librarian, you know, kind of content library side of things. And I think that's why I'm here, is I'm another example of where foundation it can be in an organization. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my team, my journey into foundation, our firm's strategic vision for foundation, and a couple of big win projects for our firm. And I think I'm going to tease out a couple of elements of Hunter's journey and elaborate on what that looked like for our firm. And I'll try to do that in under 15 minutes. So competitive intelligence is my title. It's not really accurate. I'm the director over our team's competitive intelligence, like analyst researchers, 3 of those, 3 intelligence technologists, which, similar to Hunter, includes our interaction CRM foundation. Intelligence technology for us is also increasingly incorporating things like Power BI, and also other automation tools we utilize inside our firm. So things like Smartsheet, building and collecting data, building and collecting forms, automating light automated business processes. And then in my role as working with our CTO, I also lead on various software implementations. So I'm not a conflicts director, but I'm supporting our Intap Open implementation because I care about the data, and because we in IT have that software project management discipline. I've always felt, and I'm really going to echo Hunter's comments, I've always felt really strongly, why is marketing running a software implementation? Wow, you know, let's get a PM who does that, right? It's what we do. It's what IT technologists, project managers have a lot of practice and experience in. So I kind of bring that to bear on various projects around the firm. Another reason for that role on my part is I co-chair with our CTO our firm's data information governance initiative. DIGI is what we call that. That's a multidisciplinary, firm-wide representatives from every business unit, as well as reporting to our COO and our managing partner and our technology partner chair. And we started that group 3 years ago to tackle a lot of the silos and data normalization and data quality and bad business process issues. We recognized we couldn't be ready for something like foundation, for something like a data science practice, for further API-enabled automation, et cetera. We couldn't start to do those things until we had our data house in order. We had to clean house. So we initiated that project, and it's allowed IT, my role in intelligence and data analytics to reach into different practices like attorney recruitment, who keep great spreadsheets, but nobody had ever asked them, should that go into a report? Is there anything there we could start to glean information or intelligence? Could that inform our strategic and business decisions? Yeah, actually, it really could. Nobody ever asked me, but yeah, let's put this spreadsheet somewhere. So we did a lot of that discovery, unearthing, warehousing, master data management effort over the last several years throughout the firm. And Hunter's right, that work never really ends. It's never perfect. You never go, okay, done, everybody's perfect. And there's the continual education and socialization of that as well. Well, why are you asking me about my stuff? It's my stuff, not your stuff. Nobody's taking it away from you. Absolutely not. And you need to decide your business processes, but let's talk about why this matters. Let's talk about what our clients need. Let's talk about how we can, maybe it's an efficiency for your group. Maybe I'm going to save you some time, right? In one case, it was a win to just say, I can automate your PowerPoints. Your quarterly board reports, that PowerPoint, I can stick all the data behind them, and you just put export to PowerPoint, and your report is made every quarter. In that case, have anything you want, right? So you find those little opportunities. We've spent 3 years in Digi focusing on that. So in that
Emily,
role,
just
yeah.
while you take a pause, everything you're telling me right now resonates, and it really boils down to door-to-door sales. You need a door-to-door salesman in the firm to go to each office door and say, hey, would you be interested in? Or, hey,
Yes.
do you have any spreadsheets that you want to show me?
That's right. It's very social, behavioral, and in IT, we talk a lot about training versus change management, right? Or training versus adoption. You can train a dog. Are we training or are we adopting, right? Have you socialized it? Has your behavior, have you internalized the motivation? Have you internalized the reason for, and are you navigating a group or a person or a team or a whole institution through a period of, it used to be this way, we're changing, and now we've changed. And it's the softer side of some of what we do, but so critical. Yeah, great point. So intelligence, technology, reporting to CTO, adjacent to knowledge in our org, really working closely with the firm-wide leadership at the direction of our managing partner and our board. The vision, so that's kind of been the background, getting ready to do these things. I am the project sponsor on our foundation implementation. We're in our first year. Huzzah! So very different story from Hunter's. I was taking notes, about all the cool stuff I'm gonna get to do. But we're in a very different place in that maturity and in that journey. So don't worry if you're closer to my maturity and you didn't do all that cool stuff yet. That's all right. We're all gonna get there, but it does take time. 5 years doesn't seem like that much. That's amazing. But you do have to give yourself time and your institution time to kind of digest this and get it right. So I've been leading this charge. We selected Foundation in 2020. We had that at that time, the sponsorship of the CMO, CTO, but the vision was always to have Foundation owned outside of marketing, outside of business development, which I think was prescient. The more I've gotten to know the platform and the more I hear from esteemed colleagues like Hunter, the more I agree in retrospect with that very smart decision. It's not a marketing tool, and it really should have much wider application. And if you can kind of start your footing, start your project on that footing. And we just onboarded a new CMO and had a very good, very productive and frank conversation. Very much like our model for interaction, your group are power users. You have unique specific needs. You are really important customers of these systems. But marketing isn't involved in the CRM system. I'm using one real example, powering, when we have to ship our clients their closing binders, you print a FedEx label. Well, that address is powered out of interaction. Is that marketing? No, it's not. It shouldn't be. I mean, why would you care? So we've had really good, productive, and very cooperative discussions and relationships around that. It is an intelligence platform at its heart, and it will be utilized throughout the firm, including, very happily, including BD, very critically, very centrally to it, but never housed in marketing. So we were glad to have started from that standpoint. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes. As far as integrations, where we are today and our current status, we have a Q1 next year BD rollout. We successfully completed, I would almost say like a pre-pilot, a small group socialization. What does this mean? What are you seeing? How could you use this? With not only the BD team, but several other of our business groups throughout the firm. BD has some pieces they're still building, things like PowerPoint templates, which I don't personally know that much about, but I'm so excited and we got to get those built. But we've really tried to kind of figure out what the prioritization is. So BD comes next. Super excited for that. DEI, our diversity, equity, and inclusion group, I expect to be very early adopters, and I'll elaborate on some of the examples Hunter gave, how that's applying in our firm. We're also creating a new LPM and pricing function in the firm. So everything we're doing with designing and implementing, we're kind of keeping that in the peripheral. You know, what will that person and role and team and function, what will they want? What will they need? What will they care about? Will this work for them? So those are kind of the big three for us out of the gate, and we really see a lot more application. Interestingly, we're not starting with lawyers. The out of the box day one is not firing off profiling alerts to all 600 lawyers or all 200 associates or the various combinations of criteria. We're not starting there. We're funneling things through intelligence. We want your matter to be profiled. Send us your press release, send us your document, whatever it is you have, and let us get this profiled. For now, for a firm our size at this stage in our maturity, that seemed appropriate. We're having to be very sensitive as well to lawyer overload, burnout. What's the word? You know, people are just, I'm having to learn something new every day. I've been on Zoom for 3 years. I don't even know what's going on. So we're having to kind of slot or strategize where intelligence projects fit around things like new time entry systems, or we're going to relocate our headquarters next summer. Let's not be training foundation that week. So we're trying to be very strategic and very thoughtful and very focused on the user's experience. If we come at you at a bad time, if we come at you half-baked, if we come at you without a good package and good social support and the right people standing by, operators are standing by, you know, if we don't have that full court press in place and are bringing you all the way to your solution, you really do run the risk of kind of a flop, right? People go, I don't know, somebody called me about something and made me do some more work and I hated it, right? And we would never want that for anything, but certainly not something as really amazing and precious to us as foundation can be. Looking at my notes. So that's where we are in our kind of journey, implementation, what's coming up next for us. I have no team, so I'm super jealous of Hunter's org chart. That sounds amazing. No, that's not true. So it's among my responsibilities, and it's among the responsibilities of 2 intelligence technology specialists. So part-time when we can, basically, at this point. We are looking to add some full-time headcount to this. We do absolutely see the value in that. And then in the future beyond, we are contemplating more the R&D innovation kind of function. And I always joke, you know, our group puts the R in R&D. So that's kind of what we do, is data and content and research. So excited to see that shape up for my organization over the next couple of years, and know that that will really drive us forward in the use of our platforms, including the analytics and application of advanced sciences to them. We're integrating, because Hunter touched on it, I made a note to just tell you guys what we're doing. We like CapIQ, so we want to work on that early next year. We're having, again, to fit foundation in our broader data strategy and project roadmap for the firm's technology systems. We wanted to complement other projects like InTap Open. So what works best for Intap? What can Foundation use? How do the two kind of meet in the middle? Let's make some choices that benefit multiple projects and systems so that to avoid the challenges that can emerge over time. Oh my gosh, I've got Dun & Bradstreet plugged in here. I've got something else plugged in here. Nothing's going to the central repository. These people run an industry list and these people run an industry list. We got different reports. Somebody's wrong. We don't want that to be the case in the firm. So it's designed to avoid that rather than run around for a couple of years trying to fix those things again. Lex Machina, and then I've been a big advocate for free law for Foundation Nation on the call here. If you are cash strapped, as some of us are this budget season, but you have some ideas, you want to look at some open source data, and you have some developers that can do a teensy bit of work with you. For example, I really needed a normalized court list. That sounds, I'm sure to Hunter's geniuses, that's not a big deal, but we had to figure that out, right? So like, how do I get that? Where's those, do I need to go buy something? I'll call my library director. What are we doing? And so that was a big shortcut for us. Like that was not something we needed to spend a ton of time worrying about. We went and found a good open source list of courts and judges and just stuck that right in Foundation and moved on with our lives. So small things like that that can just bring you past a hurdle or past a challenge or around an issue. Is it perfect? Will we always want to use exactly that? I don't know, but we didn't need to hang up building our profiling because we weren't sure how to get court names. That just wasn't something we needed to spend time on.
Emily, I'll interject right there because I think you just touched on something that all of us have struggled with, and folks on the call too, is that analysis paralysis. How much time can you spend thinking and debating and analyzing a taxonomy, a list? And the answer is don't, because you could, lose 18 months of your life debating industry or debating court. So, to Hunter's earlier point, you do want to make sure that what you're bringing in you at least feel good about. Don't just make a dart on a dartboard decision when it comes to it. But at the same time, get past it, make the decision, and then it can always be revisited to a degree.
I would say on the taxonomy side, Sally's done a lot of work in that space as well.
Great work.
Yeah. Especially. I would recommend all firms take a look at it for sure.
For sure. Shout out to Damien and Sally and those folks. And if anybody's interested in an introduction, either of us can get you connected. They do great work. Yeah, cool. So we're trying to kind of mix the blend of cool, sophisticated, let's do Snowflake, let's do amazing stuff, let's do the best in class, let's do it for all our systems. And then other areas where it's like, I don't know, hit it with a hammer and go on to the next thing. We're in that stage. So we're in that stage of our Foundation journey, and we're really excited. I know I'm running low on time. To elaborate on an example Hunter provided, a lot of, and I heard this on the Foundation user group call yesterday, a lot of firms have started or on their way for solving Mansfield and DEI reporting. Surely further along than I am in my organization, but I'm here, so I'll be the one to talk about it. Mansfield 5.0, Mansfield now 6.0, and Mansfield, and I'm sorry if I'm getting any of these things wrong, but the Diversity Labs website has good detail, Mansfield 6.0, and now Plus, okay? These certifications for participating firms who partner with Diversity Labs to achieve these certifications are ever more elaborate and ever more data-driven, I would say, which great, fabulous. But we now have diversity teams who are being asked to tackle questions, data-driven questions in ways they haven't before. Yes, can we say how many associates we have in a certain diversity category, gender, ethnicity, et cetera? Yes, we can. They've been doing that for a while, but now trying to say, who are the people who were listed in the pitch or the RFP or the packet, and what were the matters that we consider having won as a result of that RFP pitch or packet? And then of the matters that were then won and opened, how were the matter personnel staffed? Who was staffed? And did we pitch the people that ultimately did the work? Did we put faces up in a deck, but then that's not who got assigned to the matter, and vice versa? you know, we didn't show who really was going to work on that. Anyway, so, and in the diversity labs criteria PDF, that's like one bullet, like a throwaway, like 6-word sentence, like, yeah, also this. And it's when you start to unpack, how would I do that? Where are those data? Who's going to say, okay, wow, that's a whole thing. I mean, that's a whole big, just that one throwaway bullet, and not throwaway, it's very important, but nobody says how. So we're in the how do we do that phase of that question. Diversity teams are also, and if you're not working with your folks, I encourage you to reach out. They're being tasked with, similar to the risk and compliance OCGs, our clients in those outside counsel guidelines make specifications. I want my matter staffed at X%, X level, X. I'm a librarian, so I really sensitive. I don't charge for research. I won't pay for Westlaw. Well, I won't pay for first-year associates, or I want certain kinds of associates. DEI teams are being asked to partner very closely with attorney development, matter practice management, section group leaders, et cetera, to say who should be put on this matter that meets the client's criteria. And then clients are auditing us. And then there are all these industry surveys. I didn't even realize how many rankings and surveys and lists and links and whatever law firms, professional services firms are being asked to do, that even if the whole thing's not like about diversity, include some diversity criteria. So I see that as a tremendous opportunity. Anything we can do to enable the firm's participation. It is a high-level strategic goal for Haynes and Boone. So my goodness, let's dial up our data support to those activities and meet our clients where they have asked us to be, which we can do if we have the right data in the right place. Okay. And then last, I touched on creating an LPM and pricing function. We had done a pilot, I think Tableau was mentioned, we had done a pilot Tableau. We had utilized natural language processing to basically ignore what time and what phase and task codes have been put on time card entries, just ignore that. Read the text and put it into the real, correct, proper task code. And then parse that against our experience to build a dashboard to say, I need to price an M&A deal. It's technology, it's more than $1 billion. It involves people in tech, companies based in tech, whatever. What should that cost our firm, our client rather? How will the firm phase those time entries by phase? What are the tasks by phase? What was interesting that emerged from that as well is what kinds of M&A deals require other specialty practice areas, which some of the things Hunter talked about, potential cross-sell, right, matter staffing, budgeting. If it's technology, boy, oh boy, you're gonna need some tax advice. You're gonna need some immigration advice. You're gonna need all kinds of other things for one technology company to buy or sell another technology company that's unique, that might be different than energy, that might be different than, siding, aluminum siding manufacturing. So we were able to dig through our own real records and our own real matter experience and surface up some insights that on the phone with the client, click, I'm able to give you some cursory idea. Yes, I kind of have some knowledge of our past deal pricing. Let me work with my team and put together a proposal for you based upon actual real deals by you, the client, by your peers. So that's very exciting, and I think really someplace we're headed here at Haynes and Boone as well. I just talked a whole lot for like 15 straight minutes, so I'll pause there. Any questions?
I had two comments, if that's okay, Ashley, too, just piggybacking on this and things that I've heard just from, working with customers too. But the first is I just wanted to reiterate and just commend you guys because, Emily, you're just in your first year plus, and Honor, you guys are 5+, but being able to focus on outside of just experience management, I'll say, and pretty much air quotes, being able to understand what are the key things that we are challenged with, and then what are we going to tackle? You've got to phase it out. And I think it's really sometimes I get excited when I see firms that have had foundation for quite some time and they're able to say, we have a staff of 9 supporting foundation. That's amazing. And it's such a great success story because you've got a healthy team and you're utilizing what you've purchased exponentially, right? Like the investment that you've made both financially and over time is amazing. But I mean, for those that are just starting that journey, understand it's a process and you will get there incrementally each year. And I think the other second thing that I wanted to highlight is, and I know this firsthand too, is it is it's not just an experience platform, it is a firm intelligence platform. And I think for many, it starts off being owned in that marketing, business development, that martech technology, team. So for Emily, kudos to you guys for understanding that even before you started implementing foundation and owning it there, because you will not have the uphill battle of trying to sell it. And Hunter, I kind of want to lean on you because to ask you, where did foundation start? And if it didn't start, there, how'd you get there?
I mean, we were in marketing and business development. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I was running our MarTech CI capabilities when we started this team, and getting into analytics at that point. But yeah, we were in marketing and BD, and then really the last few years we're really struggling to get it beyond broader, because you can get, we were working well with pricing and LPM, the groups that are already kind of naturally fit with marketing, but it was viewed too much as a marketing tool, and that was holding us back. So we moved to our innovation department. So I report to our chief innovation officer, and long term we are working towards, data is going to be a standalone function at some point in law firms. That's going to happen. I mean, that's clear. But for right now, we felt innovation was the best place for it because they support everyone in the firm, and they're viewed as a non, kind of neutral territory. So it's a great platform. I'd say KM, innovation, or any of those kind of groups that are supporting a broad swath of the firm and viewed positively by everyone in the firm, that's the best place to put it if possible. But our marketing team manages the marketing proposal system and the content library, and they fully on that, and the styles and the templates, that is separate, and that function does stay in marketing. So.
Yeah. We're very similar. I have to say, I'll take the credit, but for a firm our size, we're 600 lawyers. We had to sit down with some budgets between IT and BD. And honestly, the ownership by IT made a lot of sense. It's not that it's not worth what it costs, but for our firm, the price tag was a little steep to simply be a marketing tool. But once we put it up next to other software systems, things like Intop, things like Interaction, things like NetDocuments, oh, well, I mean, it's a firm system. That's what those cost. So that was a lens that was helpful for those that are not yet started on their journey or very early in those discussions. That was a lens that was helpful for us to make the business case and allow for the budget, not only for the software itself, but services, additional staff, content enablement, et cetera.
So I was thinking as well, that additional staffing piece. And also, I think the things that I see are a firm will make an investment in foundation. They will utilize it specifically for that marketing knowledge management function. And then they'll have other areas of the firm in which they clearly could be utilizing foundation, but because it is not perceived to be this firm-wide, enterprise solution, they often forget that it's an available resource. And so they're constantly having to say, oh, by the way, we have this product. We should be utilizing it for this as well. So you're constantly having to re-educate.
And you have those departments go out and try to buy their own or build something custom. And oh my gosh, for what this costs, we could have just streamlined.
And I will say that's one of the positives at Trauma and Pepper, in the sense that there's a lot of firms are not as integrated at the high level as we are, where chiefs do generally work really well together and are supportive of each other, and that has definitely helped us compared to some other firms. I'd say the biggest issue I see other firms that are buying foundation, and it's not really going where they want it to, is they don't have the right talent managing it. You can't give a coordinator responsibility for foundation and expect it. You got to have, there's too many important business decisions that need to be made around how the data is structured, what you present, and how you present it. And I know two firms that have basically a coordinator kind of leading the efforts, and it's not going to work. It was 75% of my job the first year we implemented it, and 100% of Kelly's, and she was a manager at the time. But you know, it took every minute we could get it, you know. So
yeah, I agree. And we can all learn a lesson from several decades now, a couple decades of interaction, right? So all the complaints people have 20 years into a CRM implementation, data's garbage, you know, I can't use it, nobody's trained. Why not take those lessons learned? Well, did the whole DC office put it on the receptionist to add all your contacts? Yeah, maybe that was the issue. So I completely agree. Very similar lessons. And culture. Our culture allows for a firm-wide intelligence platform.
Well, audience, as you can see, we could go on for probably another hour, and this is how our prep call went too. It's just that it's infectious. The amount of use that one can get out of Foundation outside of the standard functions that typically stand it up. So I'm hoping that we have some takeaways here of what you can start to think of outside the box, whether you are in the business development function or whether you are in one of these other teams we mentioned. It's a firm-wide system, hands down. Whether you want to make it that way or not, that's absolutely what it is. We will be circulating Hunter slides as a takeaway, so be looking for that within the next week. Thank you for that, Hunter. Thank you so much to our speakers. I learned a lot. And again, I'm still super passionate about this topic. So thank you, everyone. Have a great end of the year.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.